following program is sponsored by Michael W. Smith. The views expressed on the following program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership.
Phoenix, Arizona. This is Brother Mike. I'm back on the radio. Welcome to HardcoreChristianity.com. Thanks for tuning in today. Today's Bible study, America, a paradise of perversion. We've gone woke, folks. That's just the way it is now. Hey, will you call somebody and tell them the radio programs? I'll make my usual announcements and then get right to the Bible study. This is Brother Mike. I'm the professional counselor at the Arizona Deliverance Center in Central Phoenix. We're on 15th Avenue, just south of Osborne Road. The website is HardcoreChristianity.com, of course. When you go to the website, please hit the PayPal button and send us another donation, as you have for the last 20 years, believe it or not. Remember Sister Karen, she's on the homepage of the website. She'd love to list your house for sale. She works in the Northwest Valley. When you go to the website, please sign up for one of our free seminars or my monthly deliverance training class on the fourth Saturday of the month at noon in the small sanctuary. And if you need a religious exemption, no problemo. Send me an email, mike@hardcorechristianity.com. I'll send it to you immediately. If you know somebody who needs to be delivered and they can't come to the Deliverance Center, send me an email. I'll send you the Miracle List, which is a step-by-step guide to deliverance and healing that works 100% of the time. Please remember our Zoom deliverance and healing service on Zoom Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific and Arizona time. Send me an email and I'll send you the code and the password. Please remember, every Thursday and Friday nights we have live services at the Deliverance Center, preaching, teaching, healing, and deliverance at both of those services, 7 p.m. Pacific and 7 p.m. Arizona time. Remember, our next children's deliverance service is November 5th of 2022. A paradise of perversion. Can you believe it? Here it is. Like this verse was written yesterday, like it was yesterday, Paul said in Romans chapter 1, verse 28, he said, humanity did not like to retain God in their knowledge. Now that's the Greek word epignosis. It means full knowledge. Full knowledge, complete knowledge. People have some knowledge of God, which they are willing to retain if it fits in with their own morality structure. But the full knowledge of God, they will not retain. Because they didn't do it, God gave them over to a reprobate mind. Greek word adokimos. It means a mind that has no moral values and is now worthless. Spiritually worthless mind. He said they did that so that they could do the things which are not convenient. This is the King James Version. Katheko. Katheko is the Greek word that means morally appropriate. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 8. Paul said people were going to get born again, saved, filled with the Spirit, and backslide and leave God and become reprobates. In 2 Timothy 3, Paul says, for example, Jannes, Jambres, they withstood Moses, and so do these men also resist the truth. The Greek word for resist there is anthistemi. It means to stand against, to fight against. Men of corrupt minds reprobate concerning the faith. There it is again, adokimos. Titus 1, verse 16. They profess to know God, but in works they deny him, being abominable. Deluktos means disgusting in Greek. He says they're being abominable and disobedient, and to every good work reprobate. Wokeism today is sweeping the country. It's sweeping the churches. Wokeism is going to be one of the main reasons the churches in the United States apostatize. The devil is using wokeism as righteousness, fake inclusion, fake equity. 2 Timothy chapter 3. Evil men and seducers, they will wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. Planao is the Greek word for deceived. It means to be led astray, to be led into delusions. If you know, and I know, everybody knows, if you give the devil an inch, he'll take a mile. If you start sinning in a certain area, if you're sinning in area A, then you're sinning in area B and C. As soon as you start sinning a little bit, the devil will then start to work on you so that you sin a little more. Then a little more, then a little more, and then a little more. And what he does is he gets you to start developing a habit. And later on, as the habit accelerates and increases, he turns it into an addiction. All right, in 2 Timothy chapter 4, Paul talks about the results of habits and addictions. What are they? A seared conscience. This is the world we're living in now. For example, the Southern Baptists. I've done several programs on that organization. They're the largest Protestant organization in the United States. They are apostatizing, and they're being slaughtered by wokeism. For example, one of their leaders, J.D. Greer, promotes preferred pronouns because you don't want to offend anybody. You want to have inclusion. They base it on the love of God, that because God loves them and cares for them, doesn't matter if they're gay or homosexual, lesbian, anything. It doesn't matter. We have to be inclusive, okay? Which is 100% unscriptural. Jesus said, I did not come to bring peace on this earth. I came to bring a sword. But on several occasions over the last couple of years, I've mentioned that once you start going woke, once you give the devil one woke, he'll take another. Once you give him an inch, he wants another inch. Then he wants another. Once you start believing and teaching children and adults and parents that someone can be born biologically female, but they are actually a male. They can turn into a male. They can identify as a male. Once you start doing that, then the devil is going to come after us and tell us, hey, that's only step one. Let's go to step two. What is that? Well, let's just say your race. You were born Asian. Your race is yellow, but you want to identify as a Native American. Red. Okay. And so you put down on your birth certificate, you get your name changed, you go through the whole process. I was not born an Asian. I identify as a Native American. There you go. Once you give the devil an inch, he will come after a second inch, then he will go for a mile. Once you let drag queens and these sexual perverts into the library to entertain children, the devil came along and said, hey, you can't stay here in the library. You got to go into the public schools because they're woke now. So now you've got drag queen story hour everywhere. Drag queens are a booming business. They're making money left and right. School districts are hiring drag queens who are actually grooming sex perverts to come into the schools and promote sexual perversion as being normal. And there you go again. Once you start giving into a little woke, then Satan shoves a huge amount of woke where the sun doesn't shine. Once you take one step that way, then he starts overrunning you with that particular sin. Drugs, sex, alcohol, food. He develops a habit, then he turns the habit into an addiction. He turns the habit into an addiction. Okay? So if you're a drag queen, all you got to do is identify as a 7-year-old, and if you molest them, you're not going to go to jail because you identify as a 7-year-old. If you are a pedophile and you identify as a 9-year-old kid, you haven't committed a crime. You are simply a 9-year-old is molesting another 9-year-old. No problemo. You can now identify what's to stop it. Once you decide in this country that marriage is not between a man and a woman, which is what's happening, then what's the difference? It's between a male and a male. It's between two males and two males. It's between two males and two females. It's between one male and 5 females. What's the difference? There is no difference. Take it a step further. People love their dogs more than they love anything in the world, including their kids and God. What's to now prevent you from saying, hey, I identify as a dog. My dog and I can get married because that is legally marriage, because I identify marriage as being between me and a dog. Well, I don't want to discriminate. I'll throw in cats. What about a cat? Oh, there you go. Now the LGBTQ community living in Romans chapter 1 sin is now coming after the Bible. Their favorite verse is Revelation chapter 7, verse 9. And it explains there that they saw a great multitude in heaven, which no man could number, of all nations, kindreds, and people, and tongues. They all stood before God on the throne and before the Lamb. They were clothed in white robes, and they had palms in their hand. And what they're saying is that is the LGBTQ community in heaven, and God accepts wokeism. Wokeism is a plague of Satan. It is going to cause great confusion among our young people. It's going to destroy the minds of millions of people. It is going to lead to the death and destruction of the United States. Once you allow a person to identify with a delusion, the person becomes a delusion. See you next time.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership. This program was sponsored by Michael W. Smith.